Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia and today I'll provide you all with a channel update. Earlier this week, Creative Assembly, the developers of Total War 3 Kingdom, kindly dropped a development update, and we finally have some clue about the future of Total War 3 Kingdoms. As my channel right now covers exclusively 3 Kingdom content, let me go over what the developers said in the update and share some of my thoughts about the current state of the game and the direction of the game. So let me read you a little bit of the developers update. In the first part it says, "We were also excited to touch on later and fascinating period for our first DLC 8 Princes, but we are really aware that players were looking for something else, and so we're currently working hard on our midterm post-launch plans for the game with a view of to do more of what the community is feeding back to us on. We still like the idea of chapter packs that explore other chapters of the Romance of the Three Kingdom, though the next one will be more recognizable to the majority of players. We're also working on DLC that adds significantly to the main campaign and are continuing to look at how that might develop and grow into something bigger DLCs over time." Now, if you have been a subscriber to my channel, then you probably have seen my 8 Princes Sima Ai campaign and my lore series for the 8 Princes time period. If you're not a subscriber, then subscribe. But regardless, I was probably in the minority as one of the few people that were okay with the 8 Princes DLC when it was announced. Needless to say, if they made the first DLC more relevant to the Three Kingdoms era, I would have been happier with it, but I can totally understand why they picked the 8 Princes. If we look at the last historical Total War that was based in Asia, which is Shogun 2, which was a great game and sold very well, we probably should have expected that the developer would follow a similar pipeline that features the rise of the samurai and the fall of the samurai as DLCs, which both use the same map but cover different time periods before and after the main game. So that is why we got the 8 Princes. And objectively speaking, the 8 Princes DLC is not bad. It's pretty good. There are new mechanisms like the alignment system and the noble support that were both improvements from the base game, but it suffered from being a copy and paste job from the base game, and the fact that it's a chapter pack means a lot of the improvements not added to the actual base game. But then again, for the price of less than $10, I think it was a decent game. It's not a bad game, it just didn't meet the expectation of the fans. And the developer clearly noticed this too, so here is their response. Let me read this part. "Yes, absolutely, the Nanman are coming. Before then, over the next year though, we will be visiting the era of the Yellow Turban Rebellion and the Liang Province Rebellion, and then the clash of Cao Cao versus Lu Bu in the Central Plains. And before that, there's a free update coming in October. Certain characters will be getting new, unique artworks for the main campaign, alongside a number of fixes and balances. We're also aware that changes to how data is organized for 3K are causing some additional problem with mods. When we're updating the game, we are looking at ways to solve or reduce this problem." Okay, so the exciting news that jumps out here is that Nanman are coming. We're finally going to get the new faction in the south with new units that are going to be vastly different from other factions in the base game, since they're a more tribal faction and they will have elephants. But if we read carefully here, then we'll notice that before the Nanman comes out, it says over the next year we'll visit the era of the Yellow Turban Rebellion and the Liang Province Rebellion, and then the clash of Cao Cao versus Lu Bu in the Central Plains. And before all that, there's a free DLC coming in October. So I'm guessing here is that the earliest we'll see the Nanman DLC will be in late 2020 at best. So that's a bit of a bummer. And this is probably because they didn't work on this DLC before and didn't have it planned, because like I said, they were following the Shogun 2 pipeline, and developing the Nanman DLC is likely a new project for them in response to all the feedback from the fans, as Nanman is a super popular wish list item for a lot of the fans of the Dynasty Warriors. But instead of lamenting on this, let's just take a look at what's actually coming and be happy about that. First up, we have the Yellow Turban Rebellion and the Liang Province Rebellion. These two rebellions are known in Chinese as Huangjin Qiyi and Liangzhou Qiangluan. Yellow Turban Rebellion is something that the players are already introduced to in the base game with the first Yellow Turban DLC, but in my opinion, I don't really consider the three factions of He Yi, Huang Shao, and Gongdu to be iconic Yellow Turban, because by the time the game starts in the year 190, the first wave of Yellow Turbans led by its founder Zhang Jiao and his two brothers were already over, and the second wave that the game features are really no more than bandits and mercenaries who rally behind the Yellow Turban banner when in fact the first wave of Yellow Turban Rebellion was not just a peasant rebellion, but also a semi-religious cult movement that had elements of magic to it. So hopefully with this new DLC, we'll see more magical or mythical elements added to the game. And of course, I think we'll see at least 3 new unique characters in the Yellow Turban leaders added to the game, as well as some new units and gameplay mechanisms added for the Yellow Turban faction, which is a little thin on diplomacy. The other rebellion here is not as well known as Yellow Turban Rebellion, which happened in the more populated Central Plain region in the eastern parts of China. But the Liang Province Rebellion is sort of an origin story for 3 iconic Three Kingdom characters in Dongzhuo, Han Sui, and Ma Teng, as the Liang Province is located in the northwest corner of the map. This rebellion also heavily features the Qiang nomadic tribe, so hopefully we'll get an actual Qiang faction, as currently we only see them in the base game as the fatigue immunity cavalry unit that serve as Ma Teng's faction unique unit. Additionally, both rebellions happened at a time when the Han Empire was not yet weakened to the point of non-existence as we see them in the base game, and the hostage child emperor's dad was still in power alongside 10 powerful eunuchs who were corrupting the court. So perhaps we will also see more unique Han Empire generals and a more powerful Han Empire in this chapter pack. And these 2 rebellions will probably be packed together into one chapter pack that fills the role of the time jump to a period before the base game, much like how the 8 Princes was a time jump to the period after the base game. The good news here is that the time jump is only 6 years before the base game, as both rebellions started in the year 184, so we'll still see many of the iconic Three Kingdom characters and play this sandbox game from an alternative start date with different factions in different locations, and perhaps play out a completely different historical scenario that might not even lead to the Three Kingdoms. At least that is my hope for this chapter pack. I also predict this chapter pack to be released either at the end of this year or early next year, as we are getting a free update in October and we just got a new DLC in August. So hoping for December or January release. And once more information comes out for this game, I'll be doing a few more lore series covering both of these rebellions in greater detail and the characters involved in these rebellions. And after the game is released, I'll be definitely doing a few Let's Plays, as well as new guides for different game mechanisms that might have changed. Moving on, the next chapter pack, or whatever form of DLC it will be coming in, is the mentioned clash of the Cao Cao and Lü Bu in the Central Plains. This one's a bit of a mystery to me, since this event happened shortly after the start of the base game. Basically, following Dongzhuo's death and the civil war between his generals, Lü Bu escaped east and established his own faction. And in the years that followed, Lü Bu would clash with the likes of Liu Bei and Cao Cao until his death at the hand of Cao Cao. So I don't know if the game wants to do an alternative start post Dongzhuo's death, as it would be very similar to that of the base game. So would this be a special scenario campaign that just focuses on the Central Plains, or comes in some other form? I don't really know, and I'm going to wait for more information before making my guess. But hopefully it will result in more units and more unique generals, as Lü Bu had quite a roster of generals that followed him. And new game mechanism probably added to the base game. So that's my hopes, and it'll probably be released post-summer 2020, given the timeline of the other releases. So we'll save all our speculation once we get more information at a later time. What we do know, however, is that Total War is coming out with a new game, Total War Saga Troy, which just got announced 2 days ago, and will be released early next year in 2020. And I'm super excited to play this game, as ancient Greek history and more specifically mythology is also a great interest of mine, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you guys some exciting content for this game once it comes out. There are a few trailers out by now, so in case you missed this news, definitely go check it out. From the little bits of information available right now, it will have hero characters who can also duel, much like in Three Kingdoms, and there will be a completely new economic system based on resources and bartering, so I can't wait to make guides on that. But in the meantime, I also want to use this announcement of Total War Saga Troy to announce that I plan on adding a new game soon to our channel. This is a game that was released earlier this year, and I had a blast playing it before I started this channel. and it's Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which happens to be based in Greece. The setting is many years after the story of Troy, but I hope it can act as a transition for this channel as Total War Troy gets closer to release, as we can learn a lot about Greek history from the Assassin's Creed game. It's not a strategy game, however, so it will definitely be coming in different formats in terms of making content for the game, but I hope you guys will enjoy it nonetheless once I figured out how to do it. And I want to clarify that this channel will not be all Total War games or all strategy games, as I find a lot of different genres of game fun and enjoyable, so I'll be adding new games from time to time as this channel grows. Now, of course, I will continue to produce Total War 3 Kingdom content, as there are tons of stuff that I still want to do and have not done yet. For example, I want to do lore series that are shorter, that shares lesser known but interesting stories about semi-unique characters in the game, as I want to explain to you why they got their unique background and why the game should consider making them a unique character and give them artwork. And starting tomorrow, I'm actually going to be kicking off a new early game guide series featuring different factions in the game on legendary difficulty to share some tips and tricks to help you guys get started with each faction on whichever difficulty you want to play on. And lastly, one of the most requested guides are battlefield guides, so I'm working on making some battle related guides in the future as well, in the format similar to Art of War. So there are tons of Total War 3 Kingdom content going forward, and I promise you there will always be 3 Kingdom content on this channel, as there are tons and tons of stuff that I want to do and have not done yet. But this doesn't mean I won't be playing other games in the meantime and sharing that content with you, because I can tell you right now that starting April 16, 2020, I will be playing and creating content for Cyberpunk 2077, because I was a huge fan of the Witcher's franchise, and I can't wait to play this game that had been promised for a long time, and share it with you guys as well. That's a more traditional RPG game that has some strategy elements perhaps in how to build your character, so hopefully it'll be a fun addition to the channel. And that wraps up this channel update. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys like the new games I picked out for the channel, and you have better ideas, please feel free to let me know in the comment section as well. So thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye!